Good morning. Welcome back to Garden Mess. My name is Carrie, and in today's video, we are going to be doing a tour of our yard. This is the vegetable garden flower bed that's in front of the white picket fence. I just planted it up. I have some society garlic. My morning glory shrub is not open yet, but it's got several blooms ready to open. So I got some vinca. And it's bright because it gets really sunny here and I want it to be able to stand out. I put some more Cassandra in here. I did put some coleus. Even though this is a full sun area, I did put coleus. And I will have to make sure that this stays moist. As you can see, it is moist. I watered it last night and it's still moist, so they should be good for this day. Got some Veronica Speedwell I put in here. And then a globe amaranth. Some zinnias that I'm sure will self-seed for me. A balloon flower plant, but I honestly don't know how these are gonna do. Those are iffy. Some more Cassandra, potato vine. I did put in a Cana lily. It's a peach color. Unfortunately, you can't see the blooms on it right now. And then some more zinnias. Not marigold. Lantana. And I'm hoping this one is more of that circular shape one. We'll see how it grows. But if it survives, it'll take up this whole space. And so the annuals will not be needed anymore. Some more coleus. One of them looks like it's suffering already. Keep an eye on that. Put some Gara. And again, this is that Catharanthus, which is just like a zinnia. A vinca. I transplanted some amaryllis. They bloom an orange color. We'll see. They might be the wrong orange. We'll see. I might end up getting rid of all of them. Another balloon flower, a red fountain grass. Give it time, it will fill in. And then I got another potato vine. A salvia. No, sage. I always want to say this is salvia, but this is sage. Autumn sage, Arctic blue. So it's more of a purpley blue color than true blue. Another Cassandra, some more vinca. Although those do look red. They looked more pink the other day, but they are red. And then I got another yellow lantana. I had 3 yellow lantanas, one here, and then one there. So the yellow they should survive and come back every year. And I love yellow, so that's my goal. I want yellow out here. And then I have some coleus, just a mix of coleuses. And I'm gonna come back and plant some things here. I've got some more amaryllis here. And then my sunshine ligustrum that I mentioned that I pulled out of the west garden. I have 2 of them. I have them in pots. This one does better because it has a self-watering reservoir at the bottom. So it actually holds moisture at the bottom when it gets watered. And it looks much better. And I'm not done with this flower bed. I still have more to do. Again, I just planted it 2 days ago. This is the other ligustrum. It does not have a reservoir on the bottom. It has just little feet and drainage holes, and so all the water drains out, and you can see there's a difference. So I'll probably get something to sit this in until I can get it in the ground. I haven't quite decided where I'm going to put those. All right, next up, the garden. So just to remind everyone, this is a brand new garden. So my vegetables are not mature. They're getting there, but next year will be much better. These are just potted things that I've had that I don't know where I'm going to put them yet. I keep moving things around because I have a couple things that I'm trying to do in here. one of which, and you probably can't see it, but I've got a trellis system that I'm trying to install, but I can't do it on my own. I do need someone to help me, because every time I dig a hole to put one leg in, all the other legs move. It's frustrating. But I do have a blueberry bush. This is either Premier or Climax. This is a Premier, and I've had it in this pot for about a year, and I'm gonna put it in the ground, and I'm gonna have like a little blueberry planting in this little area. I don't know if I'm gonna make it into hedge. That was my original intent, but now I'm kind of thinking that I might space them out. And I might even put them in the landscape, because so the thing about blueberries is they are a shrub that come back every year, you know, perennial, or they're not evergreen. They are deciduous shrubs, so they're not even perennials. They you know, they're shrubs, deciduous shrubs. Anyway, they can go in the landscape because they're a deciduous shrub. So I can actually put my blueberries into my landscape, and one of the reasons why I'm open to that idea is because I do like the leaf shape, and one of the areas I could put one, especially if I keep it trimmed down to about 4 feet, is that I can put it where the roses are. Oh wait, no, nix that. I think blueberries are in the rose family. I can't do that. I'll have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure I can't put anything there in the rose family because of that rosette disease. That's why I didn't highlight those roses in the front flower bed video. Anyway, but I can put these in the landscape and keep them trimmed up, or let them grow natural, depending upon where I put them. So I may not make a hedge, because what I'm finding is when you have a vegetable garden, even though you build it and you think, oh, this is so much space, oh, it ends up not being much space. So I actually need more space, because I need some beds that are just for carrots or root vegetables. And the vines, you know, they take a lot of space, and I do want my vines, and so that's why I have these trellises, so that the vines can go up and not take a lot of space. But I find that they still want to go to the ground. You know, they kind of are resistant to going up, except for the cucumbers. Cucumbers don't mind going up. They're pretty easy to get up there. But the cantaloupe and the honeydew, that, you know, they're kind of resistant to going up. I have to come out here and clip them on. But anyway, this little area is going to be the vines. I have I have pumpkin seeds that I'm going to plant. Before I can do that, though, I've got to get some soil in here. When I was planting this flower bed up, I noticed that the mulch is really thick, and so it takes quite a long time to get down to the actual soil, and I don't want to be doing that with the vines. So I need to get some soil delivered and move all the mulch out of the way, put the soil down right here. I might even come in and put like a lawn, what is that, divider, flower bed dividers, something like this, an edging strip of some sort. I might put it, if I can. I might not be able to do it where the posts are because of the concrete, but so that soil doesn't wash away. But anyway, but the main thing is I've got to get soil so that I can put the pumpkins in here. And then, of course, they're going to grow, especially when you look at my watermelon, how it's growing out there. It's all growing, like everything wants to go this way. So I'm hoping that I plant some pumpkins and they grow this way, or I just take some landscape staples and take the vines and put them in and make them come this way. But all this will be the vines. And so, and I'm really hoping that my husband will let me have this one strip right here. It gets full sun as well. It only gets shaded out by these trees at certain parts of the day, but for the rest of the day, you see my shadow, it just keeps on going, getting brighter and brighter. And I think that would be a great place for pumpkins as well. And when people are walking with their children, I kind of like the idea of them being able to see the pumpkins growing. I feel like our children do not know where food comes from. I really think that more and more children believe that the grocery store is where food grows. And, you know, so I really like the idea of, yeah, you go that way. There you go. I really like the idea of children being able to see my garden. And that's another reason why I kind of don't want to put the blueberry hedge here now. And that's because I think I want to create like a little, like an opening, like maybe even take the fence and bring the fence up some, but leave like an opening that people can come in with their children. And maybe even put a little sign out here that says, "Children welcome," you know, and let them just come in and walk through and say, "Oh, well, what is this? Well, this is a tomato, and this is how it's growing." And you know, my kids are all nice and grown and out of the house, but I wish I had learned how to do all this when they were home with me, because I'm just thinking how wonderful, you know, for them to know, you know, this is how food grows, and this is how you have to take care of the food, you know, so that it will grow. Look at that eggplant. I don't know when I'm supposed to pick it. All right, this is a Ichiban type Japanese eggplant. Let's see here. $50 to 60 days maturity, I think. Ooh. I'll have to go in there and pull it up on the internet. And we got some more watermelon. I'm probably going to regret that now that I see that. But I'm helping it grow out into that area, that space. This is the Climax blueberry. Pretty sure this one's Climax. Leaves are different. They're smaller than the Premier. But again, I think that this would be really pretty out in the flower beds and save the space for my other vegetables that need like more attention. Blueberries really don't need a lot of attention. You just have to plant them in a lot of acidic soil. So I have another melon there, and then I have a melon there, and I'm pretty sure that that melon is a honeydew that I grew from seed from a honeydew plant, from a honeydew that I ate from the grocery store. So we'll see. My mandarin orange tree, Satsuma. And then I have some terrible looking squash plants because of those squash vine borers. But I did do what it said and planted the stems underneath the soil to help out. So hopefully that works. Our temperatures are too high for the tomatoes right now, and I don't have a shade cloth yet installed. That's on the list of projects. Figure out how to do a shade cloth. But I did plant some new squash seeds. And so hopefully we get a second flush of squash seeds, because This is August, but we have, let's see, probably through October. Our first frost date is until almost, you know, like October 17th or something. Maybe even November. It might even be November. I looked it up the other day and thought, oh, I've got plenty of time to grow, you know, seed some squash and other vegetables that are summer vegetables. So that's what I did. And this little container I grew some kale and some cabbage, and I haven't pulled them out, but I stuck in some potato cuttings that are growing, you know, just to see. So I do have quite a few things growing, but mostly it's tomatoes, cantaloupe, cucumbers, peppers. So I have some bell peppers that are finally starting to turn color. So these are starting to turn color. I think they're a red variety, but you can eat them at any stage, I think. And then my cucumber. I know it's next to my cantaloupe, which I learned is a big no-no. Cucurbits or whatever they're called, should not be planted next to each other, just in case you do get that little squash vine borer thing. So next year, I'll have one of the trellises for the cucumbers, one for the melon. I'll do it that way next year. So that's the vegetable garden so far, still in the works. One other project that I will be doing, and I don't know when I'm going to be able to get to it, but I will be converting this all to drip irrigation. I'm not going to do the overhead spray. I just have to figure out, I have to watch a video on how to do it before I can do it, but I do think that drip irrigation is definitely going to be the way to go. I think that the water, and this is the reason why, while this has good airflow, and a lot of the stuff that you see is from the direct spray, like the force of the spray hitting the leaves. The concern is when I came out here and watered by hand the other day, I just wanted to see. And the water just kind of sits on the top and it rolls. It's like it wasn't getting down into it. And so I know the spray, it gets down into the soil because I spray for so long, but I don't want to have to spray for so long. And so I really think that the drip irrigation, not only for the health of plants, but mainly for the absorption of the water into the soil. I'll see if I can get like a video when I try to maybe just hand water these so you can see. And it could be because these are new beds and I didn't have soil brought in from other places, but you can kind of see that I mean, I can get my fingers through it. It's not like it's super firm or anything, but it does make quite a barrier for the water. You know, I don't know how else to explain it, but it does make a barrier. And at first the water does roll on the surface and goes down, and then wherever the lowest part is, it captures it. So the longer I water, the more the water has the chance to get into the soil. And what I do to ensure that the water does get down there is I run my sprinklers in 4 cycles. So let's say I water this area for 5 minutes. It cycles off, it goes to another area. But then it'll come back around. It gives the water some time to saturate the soil some, so that when it waters the second time, the second watering gets in deeper. And then so I cycle that 4 times. So that's what I do, which you have to in my area. 100-degree days with direct sunlight, no shade cloth. Even though these beds are pretty deep with soil, they do start to dry out. So I water this area every other day for about, I think I have it set for like 25 minutes, but it cycles like 6 minutes every cycle or something. And I think that's plenty of water. I just don't want to be wasting it. So drip irrigation is on the horizon. Being that the sun is starting to come up, and this is a pretty long video, so I will break this up into multiple parts. But I never showed this little compost area. So I have pine mulch that I've been working on for quite some time. It was one pine tree, and I do put it out as a walking path cover when I remove grass. You know, just any new flower beds, I come back and mulch with this pine mulch, just because I have it. And the vegetable garden has cedar mulch, but I had that delivered when I did this whole area. I didn't want the pine mulch because I didn't know, you know, I didn't want too much acidic soil, and I didn't know how pine mulch would do or not. Anyway, I do have some wild growth. I have a invasive, oh, what is that thing called? I'll come back to that. Wisteria. I do have an invasive wisteria. I cut it back all the time, but look, it's like grown there. So I'm constantly cutting it. My neighbor also has wild raspberry vines that thrive in his yard, and so they come into my yard from this back area, and I have to cut them back as well. Sometimes I spray it because I'm trying to hopefully maybe kill the root of that vine, but I don't know if it ever does because it's on his side, and he's not growing it for the raspberries. He probably doesn't know it's there. Anyway, but the wisteria is kind of wild, and it's in my yard. Like, I have a main stem of it that I cut all the time too, but it keeps coming back. Oh, is that right? I think maybe he's trying to tell me that he likes the wisteria or the wild raspberries. Got lots of birds in my yard. I also have some nandina. Now, this is the nandina that does have the bright red berries. They're very pretty. My birds don't really seem to be eating a lot of them. I mean, they might, but I don't think so because I don't find a lot of seedlings in my yard. Very rare do I find an nandina seedling. So even though it could be invasive, in my yard it's not. And so I'm not really worried about it. Now it might travel to someone else's yard, I don't know. But I don't plan to plant any more of it, and I do try to cut the berries off when they, after they get bright red, before they can drop and seed. So I do try to do that. I'm not great at it, but I do attempt to. And then I have these canna lilies. This little stand here, I just put them here from the backyard. They're pretty. They have a pretty orange color that is, it actually isn't hot. It's actually really muted, so it doesn't hurt the flow of my yard with the colors and things like that. And then I have a red knockout rose, silverberry or iliagnus, and I did hear that someone said that these are really invasive in their area, and I guess they can be. I do find seedlings once in a while, but it's nothing like, I mean, I wouldn't consider them invasive. Now, we do trim our shrubs often, especially these out here on the front. So we might take off all the blooms where it doesn't or can't seed, but I haven't found them to be invasive as much as I've found them to just be vigorous growers. So I've lived here over 10 years, and I have not had an iliagnus grow on the other side of the fence from this one or from this one. So they're not suckering, as you know, they're not suckering. They might in someone else's yard, but in my yard they have not suckered, and it's been 10 years. So I would think that's, you know, pretty good. And then I have this Chinese pistache tree. It's glorious. Oh my gosh, in the fall, oh my. If you can grow a Chinese pistache, I would recommend it. It is not a very tall tree. It gets about 20, 25 feet tall maybe. And I do plan to shape this tree. I've seen them where they're almost like a little mushroom shape. I'm not a real big fan of that. I kind of like the flowy stems, and it reminds me of a sumac tree. The coloring in the fall is almost as bright as sumac, but it's not invasive. It's nothing like sumac, so it's beautiful. And it's a new addition. This fall will make it 1 year in my yard. And I will limb it up, by the way. I know it's like right on the fence, but I will be, as it grows, I will be limbing it up. And then this is where my amarilla stand was of them here. And I had the ones that I transplanted because they were here, and I had to remove them before the tree could go in. And then I removed some others from there because my husband was fixing the fence, and he was stepping all over them, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll just save some and the others can just die. But look at them. They have bounced back. He stepped, these were all smushed, like all the little leaves were broken off from the bulb, and I did not think they would come back, but look, they are back, and they look good. I have another knockout rose. Now this one has a sprinkler head that I have got to close. It sprays on this plant, and it should not. It's not good for the plant. This plant would look so much better if it didn't have that. And then these hollies here, one day I think I'm gonna have them removed. Or maybe, I don't know. They're pokey. They do make red berries, and the birds do like them. So I'm kind of torn about that, but I think maybe I'll just do a hard prune and get them, you know, like maybe take half of the top off and then keep it lower. Because one, you can't see the brick wall. You can't see the brick. And two, I want my rose to cascade down. And I've been, you know, pushing the canes up over the fence. And I don't want it to get lost because this is so high. So it's either going to get cut in half height-wise, or I'm going to remove them. And I'll just plant. Now, hollies grow good in my area, and I can plant them anywhere in my yard. So I'm not real worried about that. But let's go in the backyard and see if it's able to be filmed. We might have to wait till tomorrow morning. It's tempting to film, but I think the sun is going to be too bright out here to really capture everything I want to show. So I think I'm going to wait till tomorrow to do the tour on this one. Well, that's it for today's video. I hope that you enjoyed it. This is our August tour of our front and side yard, and also the garden. Hopefully, I'm not sure because I'm recording this before, of course, it's being edited by my husband, but it may be too long, so it may be broken down into 3 parts. And if so, then I hope that you enjoyed this part, and we'll see you in the next part. Bye-bye.